Hello, welcome to Mia's Cool Science Show. Before we get started, I want to talk about God's Sassy Sea Mammals. This is my mom's new book. It's on Amazon. Please go check it out. It's $10. Go buy it. Go buy all of them. Today's topic is going to be narwhals.
I thought I would start about talking about marine mammals. Warm-blooded, live births, lungs, breathing through the lungs. But marine mammals are special and they're in different categories, and our narwhal is in something called a cetacean. They're cetaceans, which is they're mammals that cannot survive on land. Sometimes they get caught in sasats, the area in the sea ice that is a fissure that they can breathe from, because again they have to breathe air. They're not fish. They can get caught if there's like a sudden change of the wind and the sea ice closes, or the temperature drops and the sea ice closes, and what they used to breathe out of now is closed off.
Wow.
And they can suffocate.
What's kind of cool, as I saw, is they could go through and breathe out of a hole that's only like a foot and a half thick.
Yeah.
So like just the size of the head. They go up, get a little breathe from their blowhole, not their mouth, and then they go right back down.
Yeah. When they go to those air holes, those fissures in the sea ice, that's when hunters can get them. That's when polar bears get them. So they have to be careful at those when they go up for air.
Yeah.
Now the Arctic sea ice is 5 million square miles, and only about 3% of the ice cracks in the ice where they can breathe.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Tell me about the horn. What's the deal with that thing?
Well, one of the categories of a cetacean are toothed whales, and a narwhal is a toothed whale, and that horn is a tooth, and it goes right through its upper lip. And then there's another little tooth in its mouth.
Oh, there is?
So, right. And that horn is, about 9, we'll call it a horn, 9 to 10 feet long.
Yeah.
And spiraled.
15% of the female narwhals have a tusk, the rest don't.
It's not a sensory organ. It doesn't detect salinity because the females don't have them. It's more for dominance and for attracting mates. That's the only thing that they know for sure. But what's interesting too is when they get caught in these areas,
with the ice?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When they're caught in a small area, that the narwhals actually are very careful not to hurt each other with their tusks.
A lot of them have 2 tusks, or some of them have 2
some
tusks.
of them do. Yeah,
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. And talking about that tusk that you were just talking about, the Vikings actually, or other seafarers, but most likely the Vikings, made up a unicorn. They hid the location of where they got these tusks, and they told people that it was from this white horse, from this magical forest. And it went on for a couple hundred years until from about the 1600s to the 1800s, when they discovered what they really were, and the price of them plummeted then.
Oh, yeah.
When they discovered it.
Yeah.
They thought that it would neutralize poisons, it would cure you, it would, in fact, Mary Queen of Scots thought that Elizabeth I was going to execute her or poison her, so she had these tusks available in case to combat the poisons.
Gosh.
So they had necklaces, but only the wealthy could have them because they were so expensive.
Right. So the threats, we've talked about suffocation, that's the number one. There was one instance where they lost 1,000 of them because they couldn't get through the ice. Oh. There's not much of a threat except for the Inuit. The Inuit can hunt them and kill them in mass quantities if they want. But what's weird about them is the mercury levels are starting to rise in those narwhals when they're fine. So those blubbers. So the Inuit people are using them for their blubber, their skin, and their meat, but it's really poisonous to them, which is kind of sad. What
they did try to do in the 1960s in New York, this aquarium, was they captured a calf, and put it in its aquarium, and it died of pneumonia, and it lasted less than a year. And then another aquarium in Canada captured 2 female adults and 3 babies. The 3 babies died within the month, and then the parents soon after. So there was a big hubbub about trying to capture these narwhals. They communicate by clicks and whistles, and the clicks acts as echolocation, and you know all about that, being sonar and being a Navy person. And one of the things they do is they can detect a ship, and they slowly sink down deep, and we know that they can dive deeper than a mile and hold their breath for 25 minutes. So
5,000 feet. They can dive up to 5,000. I mean, that's insane.
They also have whistles. And the whistles are used to identify the animals in their pod, the narwhals in their pod. So they have specific whistles according to their pod, so they can identify what pods they're in. Now, males are separate from females and the juveniles, so they have two separate kinds of pods. The male adults lead their migration, the old guys behind them, and then the young ones they swim in the periphery as like scouts from danger. So they have a specific pattern when they migrate.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So very sophisticated.
Yeah.
It's so sophisticated that we have a camera on, every inch of Earth, and we still don't know anything about these. I mean, really, we know very little about them. They're in the whale category, but what's really different from them is the base of their skull is not fused, whereas a whale has a restricted skull. The skull base and the spine are fused, so they don't move their head very easy. The narwhal has a mammal-esque vertebral body system connected to the skull, so they can move their heads around. What they do is they use that big old spike coming out of their face, and they drill little fish with it. Bang, 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 like pinball. They'll knock the fish out, and then they'll eat them with their little weird mouth. When they make these assumptions about their patterns or whatever, and how they live, they're really only talking about a very select few. A lot of these studies are, like, they tagged 6 narwhals.
Right.
You bring a study with 6 applicants to a neurosurgeon, they're going to throw that right in the trash. So we really don't know about their migration patterns as much. We really don't know how they eat or how they dive because we have such a small sample size of studying them. Pretty cool animal. What do you want to talk about next?
My favorite animal, sea otters.
Sea otters. God's sassy sea mammals. Go buy it now. You'll love it. Have a great day.